Welcome to the Thriving Farmer Podcast. I'm your host, Michael Kilpatrick. Our mission is to inspire, educate, and celebrate sustainable farming. We believe that you can build a profitable, sustainable farm that gives you true farm freedom. Join us as we talk to farmers, innovators, educators, and entrepreneurs to glean their top takeaways in business and life. Hey, Thriving Farmers, Michael Kilpatrick here. Joining me today is Jean Howard, who is a trained community herbalist, drum circle facilitator, and musician sharing natural wellness education through music and programs on, off-farm, and virtual. They run an off-grid capable solar, educational, medicinal herb, and organic egg farm with a yellow barn healthy life store where they sell a wide variety of products. Welcome to the podcast, Jean.
Greetings from Matthews County, Virginia.
All right. Give us a little bit of an overview of your operation because you're doing a lot of things there.
We are, and I wanted to start off by giving you something free that I paid money for.
Okay.
That is, be sure to introduce what you're doing very strongly so that people don't turn off. I used to, because we are covering so much here, I used to go blah, 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 when I would introduce myself and the farm, and people would just shut their ears because it was just too much. So, and I'm just going to share with you how I introduce my farm. And then, and you should also, I really, advise you to think about your introduction. And so this is my introduction. I am a trained community herbalist and drum circle facilitator, farming an educational, off-grid capable solar, medicinal herb and egg farm. We share natural wellness through programs and music on and off farm and virtual. I just added the virtual part.
Yes.
And I strongly recommend that every business does this, especially farming, because so often farms cover so much. And when somebody comes up to you and says, "Oh, what do you do?" we tend to throw up information all over them, and it just overwhelms them. So, and then if after I give my little elevator introduction, then if they want to know more, then I go further and let them know everything we're doing. I just really believe in defining yourself strongly, and like I said, I paid money to learn how to do that, so I'm sharing that, and you got it free today.
Okay, well, thank you for that. So with your farm, when did you start the farm?
We started it in, we actually opened to the public in 2017, but I never dreamed I'd be doing what I'm doing. Visitors who came to a simple herb farm in 2017 are really surprised when they come by today. Then we just had a few little herbs growing. We had like a couple of chickens. I mean, we didn't even have a lot of the outbuildings. And but now they come. We've got 120 laying Rhode Island red hens. We've got about 12 khaki Campbell ducks. We just put in a rabbit colony, which I still don't know what the heck we're going to do with all those rabbits. But they're mostly just for the cutesy factor. The kids love it. And the adults too. I always have a big carrot patch. And before we go back and see the rabbits, everybody gets to pull a couple of carrots. And you'd be amazed how many kids don't even know that carrots come from the ground. It's really sad. And so we pull the carrots and we take them back there. And the rabbits are living in, we have a house back there. And then they got all these little burrows and logs and stuff. And as we come in there, the rabbits have learned that people mean food. And so they all come running out to people. And it's really become quite an attraction.
So you raise the rabbits, they're more of a communal setting.
Yes, it's colony raising where it's not in cages, and so it's quite interesting. And of course, everything we do here on the farm, I'm able to teach classes on too. Everything we do here, I'm able to teach about cut flowers, teach about chickens, teach about the bees, teach about everything. And so I soon will be able to teach about the rabbits. I'm still learning now the ins and outs of it, but they're not really meat rabbits. They're more, we rescued them from a place in Williamsburg. They were taking good care of them.
Yeah.
But they didn't need them anymore, and they were in just these little cages. And we thought, we've been wanting to add something that the kids could pet at the farm, and we thought, well, but we didn't want to have them in cages, so we wanted to do the rabbit colony. So that's really kind of different. We do need to figure out what we're going to do with all the rabbits. We're thinking maybe sell them as pets, or we'll work it out. We will work it out.
Yeah,
so I have no doubt.
So how far are you from, let's say, Washington, D.C.?
We're about 3 hours from D.C. We're about an hour and a half from Richmond, Virginia.
Okay.
We're Middle Peninsula, right on the coast. We're about a half a mile from the Chesapeake Bay, so we are very coastal.
Okay. So warmer.
we are off-grid capable solar, and so we do everything the old-fashioned way. We tend to make our farm very old-fashioned and close to the earth. And so the poultry is raised in large coops the way they used to, using the deep litter method on dirt floors.
Okay.
That way the poop compost until we clean it out like 2 times a year. We're only 5 acres, so we're too small for the pastures and chicken tractors. So we use all the straw in, straw out constantly, the way Joel Salatin said you should if you cannot do the tractors and use pastures. So we have them in big 30 by 50 foot poultry yards. So they're quite large, and like I said, we were very inspired by Joel Salatin, so we do that, and we are looking to expand as farm around us comes available. We might be able to do more with the pasture, because I really like the chicken tractor thing.
Yeah.
It's just we're not big enough. We're 5 acres, and we have 2 acres in woods, and then so we're only like really using about 3 acres.
Gotcha.
So, farming and for agritourism.
So what was your background before farming?
Well, I kind of wanted to do a little bit more about what's happening here at the farm, if that's okay.
Yeah, go for it.
Because I wasn't quite finished. We accidentally laid out the farm correctly with a quiet, even though we're so small, we laid it out with like a quiet side and then a business side. And that the quiet side has the meditation labyrinth and the woodland peace path. The business side has the growing hoop house and all the plants for sale on the tables, and then all the animals are in the back of the property. So our farm then offers a yellow barn healthy life store, which we were so going to paint red. We even bought the red paint a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
It was an old barn that was about to fall down, and when we went to restore it, we found the original cookhouse in there. So we restored it again around the original cookhouse, and we turned it into a 2-room store, and with the cookhouse being the second room. And like I said, we started to paint it red, and then something just told me, it's like, paint it yellow, paint it yellow. So we painted it yellow, and people, that has become kind of its trademark, the yellow the yellow barn healthy life store.
So in that store, what you sell a wide variety of products.
Yes, we're a health food store. So we've been able to be open this whole time. The CDC said we could be open since we're a health food store. We sell what you would find in a health food store: healthy cleaning products, beauty products, essential oils, herbs, eggs, duck eggs and chicken eggs. And we feed our poultry an organic, soy-free, non-GMO feed. And so the eggs are really good. And they eat a lot of organic weeds. And we actually grow hydroponically organic sunflower sprouts for them, and they get a tray of that every day too. And so it's what a health food store would be. And then the second room is the herb room. We've got a whole wall of the big gallon jars of dried herbs that you can come and make your own tea blends. So that's kind of our trademark right there. And so we sell bulk herbs, and which is very hard to find.
So
some of them we grow, and some we order from reliable organic sources. So.
Okay, so yeah, talk to me a little bit about the production side of the farm. So because obviously with a store, there's just so many products you can't offer them yourselves, but what things do you focus on growing?
Well, the things we grow, we have the labyrinth and the meditation paths, and then we have flower gardens. We grow them. The herb gardens. We are a medicinal herb and organic egg farm, and we have herbal areas to explore. We've kind of let an area grow wild. We were going to knock it down and make it pretty, right? And then we thought, no, we're not a botanical garden. We're a place where you want to explore and find things just like growing in the grass, you know. So we let this one area grow up, and it must have 15 kinds of herbs growing in there. And so people that are really into it dig around. We have little shovels they can actually explore and discover, and they really have a good time digging up something they can take home. So we do that. We have honeybee hives. I used to be very much into the honeybees, and at one time I had 20 hives, but now we just have 3 here on the property. But I'm afraid our area is not very good for that. We're surrounded by so much commercial farming that I'm afraid it's just not good for them. I used to be able to keep a hive alive for 5, 6, 7 years. Seems like lately it's only a year or 2. And it's which is sad, you know. But besides the gardens and everything, we do programs. Programs is one of our big money makers here at the farm. We have a huge drum circle area, and we also put in the Peppermint Outdoor Performance Stage, which is where we have music festivals. And then we grow elderberry. I'm an elderberry grower. I'm a cut flower grower, and we just became small time hemp growers. We're not doing it in any big way, but we hope to in 2021 to offer our own CBD oil as well as other health products that are created right here on the farm.
Very cool.
We also hope to offer a farm salad mix, which will be nutritious lettuces we've grown right here, and we're going to throw in a handful of edible flowers. We have 3 moringa trees that we cultivate in our greenhouse, and we're going to throw in leaves from that. That's a power food. That's a superfood. And we're also going to add edible seasonal weeds, so like the tonic weeds. You know, where else can you buy a salad mix? It's got a handful of dandelion and wood sorrel and gatucola in there, so it's going to be quite different. And we're also going to be offering cut flower bouquets. I used to really be into growing cut flowers a couple of years ago, and then I kind of got out of it as we got busy with all the other areas. But this year we're working with that. We want to grow cut flowers and sell them. When I say working with it, I mean we're creating our process, because you can't just like cut a flower and say, here's a bouquet. You got to cut it a certain way. You've got to season it a certain way, and then it will last. It'll be a good lasting bouquet. So, so that's what we're working towards. As far as programs, I do a lot of programs on and off farm. We do a lot of virtual now because of the COVID. And I also offer an annual Herbalist course, which is, I only take 10 people a year. It's 7 6-hour sessions. We usually start in April and end in October, but this year we were able to start in June, and we're going to end in November.
Okay, so 7 6 hours, that's 42 hours of education.
Yes, I'm a trained herbalist. I actually trained for 4 years, and what I'm sharing in this class is pretty much what I learned in my first 2 years of my herbalist training. So it's a foundations plus class is what it is. And it's very intense, and when you get done, you feel competent to work with the herbs and everything. And I'm blessed to, like I said, I only take 10 a year. And the people that were on my list for this year, I was so afraid they might cancel, because of the COVID. And I kept in touch though, and nobody left. Nobody dropped out. I was so impressed with them, and I sure appreciated their steadfastness. And so we're in the middle of the course right now. We've only got 3 more to go, and they are just doing excellent. We're meeting at we have 2 large covered outdoor areas that we can use as classrooms.
Okay.
So we're meeting in that. We're meeting safely, and we're making it through. And it's working out very well. And I've already got 4 people on the list for next year, so I feel so blessed.
Wow.
So, you asked about our background. My husband and I have been married over 46 years.
Congrats.
I
That's a long time.
I know, and we're still good friends. Although he says he is starting an abused husbands club because of all the work around here, So, but we got married in '74, and I never dreamed we'd be doing what we're doing. I always worked in offices. My husband was active duty Coast Guard, and as he moved around, I mostly did accounts payable. I did it a couple of times for the Coast Guard as we were moving around, and my last job was at a big dental office here in Gloucester, Virginia. And when we moved to our 5-acre farm here in Matthews in 1997, in 1998, I took the Virginia Tech Master Gardener course. I learned natural beekeeping from an elderly Dutch guy that was doing it in the area. And I tell you, if you ever want to learn the best way to do anything, ask an elderly person, because they don't waste any time, they don't waste any money. They just know the basics. And I tell you, he'd be really sad to know how weak the bees are today due to toxic conditions around here. But we did that, and we actually, when my husband retired from the Coast Guard, we actually started a business, C-A&J Inc., I-N-K, and because that was kind of what he wanted to do. It was a personalized gift business online. So we kind of warmed up with that, and I thought we were busy then. It's like, no way, we are so much busier now. But when he went back to work at Fort Eustis Army Base, I changed it into C-A&J Farm. And at that time, I was still working full time, but I was doing it on the side, and I started doing like farmers markets. I started selling a few eggs. I always brought. I've always been into music, and I've been in a few groups. I've been playing the guitar since 1984. And then only recently, just the last few years, I became a drum circle facilitator. But anyway, when I first started out, I was just playing my guitar and entertaining. And I made a little money. I was kind of semi-pro. I made some money at farmers markets and festivals and playing the music and selling some of my items. I did crafts for a while, but I was awful at it. I really was. Not everybody has the talent to make a good wreath. And so anyway, in 2013. I decided that I wanted to be home, so I gave up my full-time job, decided I just wanted to be home, just making a small farm for us here, and just to take care of us. And so we got a few chickens. We got a dog. We got 2 dogs, the Great White Pyrenees, Jack and Jill.
Yep.
And just loved them. And we were just doing our own little thing. My husband and I have always been preppers. And in fact, I'm adding that to the farm tour soon, as our big prepping area and my big grow light room and my big plastic room where I grow things. But anyway, to go back to our beginnings, I went and took just a simple 2-hour herb course because I was interested in just taking care of us. And I fell in love with the subject and wound up going to school for 4 years. And so in 2017, I said, okay, we got to open to the public, and I got to share this and this knowledge of natural wellness. And so we opened. Like I said, we were very simple when we opened, and we hardly had anything here, but still people loved it. And I remember at the time I opened, I actually tried doing Young Living essential oils also, which it's a great product, and I had a pretty good team going, but it just wasn't for me. I wanted something more simple. I wanted something I could grow myself. I wanted to run my own business, not just work for another company. And I feel that way about Facebook too. You can't depend on Facebook or anybody. You need to build your own email customer list, because something could happen. Facebook could go away tomorrow, and then you wouldn't be able to reach your customers. So you've got to develop your relationships and your list with your people, so that they will always come to you. I'm a real believer in that.
So then your marketing, does that go directly? Do you market to your email list frequently, or how does that work?
I do. I also market through, I do use social media. I use a lot. I share to a lot of groups. I advertise in local papers all the time. I do 2 times a month in one paper and 1 time a month in another. I belong to a lot of groups, a lot of chamber groups and things like that. And I'm a real believer in that. You've got to get out there. You've got to get out there. You can have the prettiest farm in the world and be doing the most wonderful things, but nobody's going to find you if they don't know about it. So you've got to be out there. You think there's no time, but you've got to attend meetings. And one thing I'm a big believer in too is that your business, whether it's a farm or a brick and mortar, should be involved in the community and should be involved in charities. Our farm's a big supporter of our local humane society, and we actually won an award last year for that, and I was so proud of that. I hung that plaque in our store, and people really like seeing that. And you need to do that. I know you ask about my typical week. And I didn't really realize how busy I was until I started thinking about that. And but we're open to the public year round and weekly, most Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays from 10:30 to 6. But Mondays and Tuesdays are my office days. So those are the days that I do QuickBooks, because I do all that, advertising, networking, social media, ordering for the store. I do the store work, replacing the herbs in the jars, stocking, cleaning, it's quite interesting. I also do programs on and off farm and virtual on those days. And I'm also a Tidewater Arts outreach artist. It's strange how I heard about that, and it's another way of being involved in the community. They're a local organization that provide music. They provide the arts to shut-ins, and so I actually make a little money doing that. They send me to nursing homes and places, and I love doing that. Wednesdays are my only off day, my only off farm day. It's not my off day, it's my off farm day. Because and I know most farmers know, if you're running the roads every day, nothing's getting done at your farm. So you need to put everything on one day and that's your day to be gone. And so Wednesdays, I leave early and get back late. I deliver eggs to 2 local health food stores and sometimes herbs too. I deliver to a few people, to homes as I pass by them. I do my banking, shopping, any errands, because that's important. I can't be running out every day. So, so I put everything on their doctor's appointments, anything like that, hair appointments.
Yeah.
And then Thursdays, oh my gosh. Thursdays are our big work day. We're also open to the public, so we have customers coming and going too. And it's funny, they've kind of gotten where they get involved. I mean, they'll start helping me with the bales of straw and stuff. But that Thursdays is full of paid workers. I have a few paid young people that work part-time, and then all of a sudden we're getting all these volunteers. And so I'm really giving a lot of thought to that. If I manage it right, I've heard some people say that volunteers are just kind of a pain in the butt because they just want to visit and they don't want to work.
Yeah.
Well, I have not found that to be the case. I think it's all the way you work with your volunteers. You've got to let them know what you need done. You got to set the scene that, yeah, we're here working. We're working together. Yeah, it's fine to talk, and we all have lunch together. Everybody brings their lunch. And so the paid people and me and the volunteers, we all eat together and share our lives, what's going on. I make sure I share knowledge. A lot of people are working here volunteering because they want to learn. And so I make sure I share. Oh, look at that. That's medicinal. That's growing right down there at your feet. Look at that. I made a salad today from that. So I make sure I share. They want to learn about how to plant a tomato, how to cut a cut flower the correct way. And so I share that as they're working. And I also use the fair, fun, and firm method.
Okay.
I'm always very fair. I listen because they have opinions too. And, it's funny. I had some volunteers last week that I said, hey, I have 5 vases here that I would love to look pretty at the farm all weekend. It was on Thursday we were doing this.
Yeah.
And so I said, I've showed you how to cut the flowers. Would you go back to the cut flower garden, fill up these vases with water, and place them around the farm? And I said, we always put 1 by the refreshment area, 1, in the store, 2 on the back deck where the big, like all the picnic tables are, and then 1 over at the walking labyrinth. When I said that, I meant on the picnic table that's over at the walking labyrinth. But when I looked over there, they had put it right in the middle of the labyrinth, which was the place where you wound up after you stopped meditating and everything. And I thought, I just left it there. I thought that was gorgeous. Now, see, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
But I thought that was so beautiful. And, it's, you get so much of your ideas from people. You really do. It's interesting. So I try not to be too set in my ways. I try to be open. And you've got to do that. And another thing we do that I do with my paid workers too and my volunteers, I don't try to micromanage them. I think so often we do, and so often people that own their farms feel like, and I feel that way too, that hey, nobody can do that that's as good as me. Nobody can take care of that animal as good as me. Nobody will do that. Nobody will be that detailed. But you got to step back, and you've just got to train your people well, check back in on them, let them know, make sure you spell it out. And then check back and make sure they did do a good job, especially with the animals. The animals have got to get certain care. But like we'll need to replace all the flowers here at the farm for seasonal. Every season replace all the beautiful flowers that are in all the flower beds and the pots and everything. And instead of me going, okay, I want that there, that there, that there, I just give them all the flowers and I say, okay, y'all have at it. Just decorate the farm. They love that. They love that. And so when people visit the farm, guests visit the farm, which we get guests Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays, the people that are working here, even on a volunteer basis, you can just see them like beaming. They just, because somebody will say, oh, what a beautiful flower pot, and they'll just like beam because they think, well, yeah, I helped do that, So I'm a real believer in that a leader does not mean you're the best. It means you're making others better. And I really think bosses and leaders need to think about that. We need to think about that because when you make your people better, whether they're paid or volunteers, then they're the face of your farm better. And they spread the word. I'll tell you, Michael, right now, it is we have grown so much on Thursdays. Volunteers come in. I had 3 other people call me last week and say they're going to come this week, and it's just like it's incredible. Thursdays I've just got to mostly be managing,
Yeah.
I make sure I go out early and do all the chores that I've got to do before 9 o'clock, because between 9 and 5, I am busy managing and making sure that everything goes good, as well as, the customers that are streaming in and out too. So it is, it's quite a, but we get a ton of work done too.
Yeah.
But you got to do it right. I've
Yeah.
got to let them know what I want. I have a list, and I'm starting to even post it in the Hoop House now that tells them, okay, this and this and this needs to be done, and they can even pick the chore they want.
Yeah.
So anyway, have you had luck with that?
Yeah, I mean, for us, we didn't do a lot of volunteers because we were so far in our old farm from the beaten path. We were an hour from our major sales city. But at our new place here, we have 12,000 cars that go by a day. So yeah, once
Wow.
we're up and going, we'll have a bit of customer interaction. I love the aspect of the meditation aspect that you've got, and just the different community engagement sides, because so I'm really trying to think, how can we build that into what we're doing here?
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
Well, I never planned on this.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm really being led. I was led to build the Labyrinth. I didn't even know what a labyrinth was. And
Yeah.
a visitor from England was visiting kind of the second summer we were open. It was fall of 2018. And she visited, and there was nothing on that side of the farm. And she looked around and she goes, "It's so peaceful over here. Y'all need a labyrinth." And I'm like, okay, well, I didn't even know what a labyrinth was.
Yeah.
She left and went back to England, and the next week a friend of mine came by, and she had a carload of books she was taking to the DAV, and she asked if I wanted to dig through there and get some, because she knew I liked to read.
Yeah.
And there was 3 books on how to build a labyrinth, and I thought,
There you go.
my gosh! So I was being tapped on the shoulder saying, "Build a labyrinth," and
Yeah.
we're actually registered with the Labyrinth Society, and so you can Google the Dragonfly Labyrinth, and we pop up. And I swear, some people visit us just to walk the labyrinth, but then they wind up shopping
Yeah.
at the store, enjoying the farm, and Fridays and Saturdays are just full of visitors. And Fridays and Saturdays are days that it's mostly me and my husband here. If he's not working, mostly me. And then Saturdays, one of my part-time workers sometimes comes back to help me for a few hours. But it's just full of visitors and events and drum circles, programs. People, even if I'm really busy, if we get a group come to the farm, I'll just stop what I'm doing and give them a tour. And that's something I wanted to speak to too. I really do believe us as farmers, especially if you're doing any kind of agritourism where you're doing, you want people to be thinking about their meditating, slowing down, de-stressing, we need to be that way ourselves. Even if I'm have a crazy day, if I start feeling like my shoulders are going up and I'm getting this crazy look on my face, I take a minute, I breathe deep. I've always been into yoga, and so I'm not a yoga instructor, but I love yoga, and I feel like it goes well with any faith. I'm Christian, but I'll stop, and I read one time it said Om Shanti Namahe means God, peace, not about me in Sanskrit.
Yeah.
And so whenever I start getting busy, I think that, God, peace, not about me. Om Shanti Namahe. Slows me right down. I take a deep breath, and I'm able to face all the craziness and the customers and everything with a calm, relaxing demeanor, which helps them be relaxed.
Yeah.
And I know anybody that farms, that some days are crazy. I mean, especially if you got animals and stuff, but you've got to get hold of yourself. And one thing we do, no matter how busy we are, I've always got some refreshments. During the summer, it's a herbal lemonade. I've got it out there. All 3 days we're open each week, and it's ice cold, and it's something I brew the night before. It steeps all night, so it's strong and very healthy. Brew it long and strong, and it's lemonade. It's lavender, rose, and lemon balm, and then a little bit of stevia leaf, which naturally sweetens it. So I make my homemade tea bags. I do 2 gallons at night. I let it steep all night, and then in the morning I add organic lemons, and it makes a beautiful herbal lemonade, which is totally stress relieving. That combination of herbs is totally stress relieving. And then during the winter, I do herbal de-stressing teas, hot teas.
Yeah.
And when people visit, we actually stand around because we're open all year, so you can enjoy the seasons here. During the winter, we have a fire going every day. We're open, and they're able to get a hot tea, and we stand around and talk about the current events and how people are doing. And you've got that our farm is all about that. It's about slowing down, living close to nature, and so you've got to show that when people visit. We actually get a lot of groups. The drumming. I got to talk about the drumming. Oh my gosh. And if you want to add something to your farm, check into music. Music adds a whole aspect to your farm that I never dreamed we'd be doing. Now I'm doing my guitar and drumming, mostly the drum circles. A lot of the young people have really, they love helping me with those. And we've had a lot of groups visit us, that special ed groups from the schools. Drumming, the beat of the drums helps with ADD, Tourette's, tension. People say it lowers their blood pressure. It's just just the beat of the drums is so. And we actually drum to all kinds of music. We even drum to Amazing Grace. We'll drum to Old MacDonald Had a Farm if we get a lot of little kids. And we'll even we do some Native American songs. We do some Earth songs. But yeah, it's all about the beat. And I think it's all about just kind of being together as a team doing it.
Yeah.
As groups visit the farm, we'll break out the drums and drum with them. And then they'll leave. Here come another group. We'll break out the drums and drum with them, And that's all part of what we do. We go the extra mile. And I really think farms need to do that. I really do. I really do. And they need to think about how they're presenting themselves too. I called this one farm recently, and I wanted to ask her about something, and her voice message, I'll probably never call her back. Her voice message was that I do not answer my voice messages, so don't leave me a message. And I was like, wow, I mean, people, we got to be real here. Even, farmers got to get up to date here. We need to be more welcoming. I know we're busy, but we've got to be welcoming. And I know you agree with that.
Absolutely. Yeah. If customers can't talk to you, can't leave you a message, they don't feel like you want to engage with them, they're going to find someone who does.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now I have chosen a very challenging path, and but like I said,
yeah, you have a lot going on.
I'm running a full retail store. I'm running animals. It's funny. I asked another local farm, and it's a great farm. They have a great farm, but they're mostly open in the seasonally. They're not open all year like us. But I asked her because she had all these animals, cows and sheep and pigs and peacocks, and I'm like, oh my gosh, how do you take care of all these animals? And she actually, she gave me something to think about outside the box. She goes, well, we just rent them for events. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I hadn't even thought of doing that. But
yeah,
but I don't know. I don't think I could do that. I mean, it's good to think outside the box. I mean, it really is, because
yeah.
But what do you do every weekend when you get visitors? I mean, so it wouldn't work for me being open, all year and everything. But that's just an example. Always be thinking outside the box, because it definitely works for her. It's such a challenge here. We're educational plus farming plus retail. We're agritourism plus music, and every business model every business class I've been to says focus on one business model.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but I look at what I'm doing, and it is one business model. It's just got so many legs. I mean, there's no way I could make money or be successful just selling eggs.
Oh, yeah.
No, I mean, there's no way. And I tell you, and then you got to deal with the weather. That's just a whole nother thing, which you just got to let go. You can't control it. You just got to let it go. Don't let it make you worry yourself to death. And but we're only in our third year here. I had a slamming year planned here for this year, and then of course the COVID hit, so I had to cancel and rearrange everything. And the first 2 years, I have to admit, I mean, we have lost money the first 2 years. I've heard that's very common with farms, but it's still so difficult to take when you're working so hard. But like I said, I really think we were going to do it this year. I really do. And, like most starting farms, we kept it alive with my husband's off-farm income. And fortunately, I'm a good budgeter, and I tried to stick to my budget, and I'm not paying Main Street rent,
Yes.
Good. Actually, I feel like the virus has helped people find us.
Yeah.
because people are looking for local places to shop and avoid crowds. And like I said, they can get everything here. At one time in May, we were the only place in our whole county that had any eggs. I had a line. And
Wow.
the way I've been safe is that I only let one person or one family in the store at a time because we are kind of small.
Yeah.
So I had a line, and some people didn't want to wait, so they left. But it was it was quite interesting. And so far we've managed pretty good. We are growing, and I'm looking into right now. Hiring some of my part-time people full-time. I'm really striving towards that. So right now I'm looking into the legalities of doing that. We do everything correctly here. I do all my licenses, all my insurances. I cross my T's and dot my I's. When I wanted to do this, when I started in 2017, I actually marched my little butt down to the zoning here in Matthews County,
Yep.
and I said, can I do this? I told them what I wanted to do, and they said no.
Okay.
And I know, and so I looked at them, I said, okay, well, how can I do what I want? And at first they said I had to pay money every year and get
Yeah.
a permit and all this, and but then they actually said, no, we've known you a long time. You just pay us a little money now, we'll rezone you, and you're good to go. So,
Oh,
yeah.
interesting. So what did they end up zoning you?
Yes. So I highly recommend anybody that's going to be doing anything like this, go to your zoning, because you don't want to get started and then have them come and shut you down after you've already spent money. So I highly recommend that. Always know your zoning, work with them, make your sign, stay within the codes. It's a pain, but you just got to do it. You got to do it, or you're just going to be fighting with your county, and that's not good business. That's not good business.
So what zone are you in now then? What did they end up rezoning you to?
Well, I guess because a lot of agriculture had moved out of our area, we were zoned to rural, and so they rezoned us to agricultural, which helped me.
Gotcha.
So so just check your zoning and know that. And another thing we have struggled with here is pricing, and I know pricing is difficult for everybody, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is pricing.
Yeah.
It is hard. So many. I'm a real believer in classes, so I've taken all kinds of online training and all this stuff, learning about business, and I take it all and I weigh it and I apply it. And so many places have said, "Oh, you've got to sit down. Like, okay, we only do farm tours on this day, these times, and this is how much it costs, and blah blah blah." Well, I looked at all that. That just doesn't work for us. I mean, we are a medicinal herb and organic egg farm, open to the public. I'm a herbalist trained that I can talk to people and kind of guide them to natural wellness. It's all about working with people, and we're not Busch Gardens. I just couldn't put like, okay, and if somebody, if we plan to have farm tours only on Saturday between 2 and 4, and it costs $10 a person and all this, but if people show up on Thursday or Friday and they want to see the farm, I'm still going to show them around. So I'm not just going to say, no, farm tours are only on Saturday, and I just couldn't do that. It just didn't work with how I wanted it to go. So what I did post, I've got a couple of signs around the farm that says, your donations are gratefully accepted and we cherish you, and so please support what we're doing. And I find that works amazing. So I do not charge for farm tours. I don't charge for my herbal advice. I am not a practicing herbalist. I'm a community herbalist. So, but if people, and I get people wanting to talk all the time, and they want to sit down with me, have a cup of tea or something, and they talk to me about what's going on with them, and I don't diagnose. I tell them I'm not a doctor, but if their doctor says, well, I'm having trouble with this or that, then I can advise them as maybe what I would do if I had their problem, and help them. Often it's mostly just diet. It's diet and lifestyle. And so I share with them how my husband and I have gotten ourselves healthy. My husband and I were not very healthy at all 30 years ago. And we had all kinds. We were very overweight. We smoked too much. We drank too much. We didn't live a healthy lifestyle. But 30 years ago, we looked at ourselves and said, and it's been small steps. And but we're in our mid 60s now. We are totally healthy. We're on no meds. We see the doctor every year for our physical, and they do everything, and they look at us and they say, "Go home, you're fine." We are in no pain. We have good energy. We sleep good. It's all by living close to the earth, and living simply. We're gluten, dairy, and sugar free. We eat no processed foods. If it has a label, we don't eat it.
Okay.
It's all whole foods. It's good water. It's being outside. It's moving. And I'll talk a little bit more about that. I did want to talk about that. People are always asking me, okay, I'm a vintage person, and they know I'm a vintage person, and they want to know, how do I do it all? Okay, number one, I have a supportive and hardworking husband who I love and appreciate very much. He lets me be free. He lets me be creative. He supports me, and but he's real with me too. Sometimes I get all caught up in things. I'm like, wow, I want to do that. And he's like, now, honey, how would you do that?
Yes.
So he brings me back down to earth when I need it. Number two, I know the principles of good health, and I keep on track. I make sure I practice self-care, and you need to too. Number three, I'm very organized, very with the capitals, all in caps. I use, even though I'm a vintage person, I'm very up to date. I make sure I am, and I use every modern tool. I use MindMeister, mind mapping tool, to map out all my different areas and keep track. I do have a paper calendar that I rely on, but I'm looking at Calendly or Google Calendar for keeping my schedule in my phone too. I have dry erase boards in my office where I keep track of everything on a daily, monthly, weekly schedule. And so right now I can look up and I can just see what I need to do as soon as I get done with you. I am constantly doing that. And my biggest challenge lately, and I don't know about you, is keeping up with all the Zoom links flying around.
Yes.
I love the way you sent me a new link today saying, hey, remember we're getting on here today, because then I had my link right there. So many people send you a link like a month ago, and then you've got to keep track of that and know where to go back and get on it, So,
So Jean, that's actually Calendly. Calendly does all those automations. Yes. Yeah. So it's a little bit of money, but again, I would not be able to operate this business without Zoom, without Calendly, without.
I saw you use that. Yes. Okay. Well, I'm definitely going to look at that then, because that's been my most difficult part, But I believe, and I want to talk, I believe in being the person that when people call me, whether it's about farming, whether it's about business, whether it's about setting up a program, whether it's about going and doing a drum circle for a group over in a different county. I do all these things. I believe in being the person that when they call me, I call them right back. They know that I will call them right back. I believe in being timely. I believe in being organized. I believe in being the person that if I said I'm going to do something, I do it. And I just think that's so important. I have my office set up as a Zoom studio, as a video studio. It's all set to go. I don't break it down. I don't have time. I'll just run in here and do a video. I've got the good lighting. I've got a podcast mic. I've got lights. I've got backdrops, the virtual backgrounds, so that they don't see my messy office. And so I can do a quality job. And that means a lot. People will. And, I'm speaking to people that are farmers too, and so often farmers don't think they've got to do a lot of this because they're not working in offices. But farmers need to be ready too. They need to be ready to go. They need to be,
professional,
ready to be accommodating, because, you want them to call you. You want them to call your farm. You want them to set up things with you. So you've got to be open to that. And I just think that's so important. I developed my social media skills. I was never even on Facebook until a couple of years ago, and I went on to develop our social media side of promoting the farm.
So what do you find works best on the social media side?
I find Facebook, but all the young people that work here say Instagram, but I find Facebook works better. And mostly I like the groups. I find working with the groups, posting in them is what works the best. But I just, it's, I'm really, right now I'm working, we are growing. And so I'm looking at updating our sales machines for our point of sale and making it so it links more to my QuickBooks. So I'm not having to do so much manual work. And, just working. And it worked better with the inventory because I'm keeping up with the whole store inventory too. And it's so difficult. And I'm hoping maybe to hire somebody to help me too.
Yeah.
But people ask, how do you do all this? I don't really think about it. I just breathe and practice self-care and balance and just do it. I look ahead, not back. If I make a mistake, I learn from it. I cry a little bit and just keep going and learn, and share and care is our motto here. Share and care.
If you were to go back and reset and restart, what would you do differently from the start?
I would definitely I was slow to establish a working budget and business plan. I would definitely do that right off. Um, as you can tell, I didn't quite know what I was doing, really where my goal was. And it just
But
kinda
Gene,
happened.
I think so many farms start that way, and I think that's okay. I think you've kind of just like, you've got the drive, you got the energy, you've got the vision. You just kind of needed a little bit of like what's going to work, and you've built yourself a very unique farm, which now people are flocking to. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I do. I think they're finally finding us. I'm excited about 2021. I'm just, and I don't let the fact that, that I haven't made big money yet bother
Yeah.
me. You just got to keep going. And really, when I look at what I'm doing, even when I first started in 2017, being a millionaire was not the goal. Sharing was the goal. And, I've actually had a few friends that are into doing your readings, and I've had people do my readings and they're like, okay, your spirit animal is a horse and money doesn't motivate you.
Yeah.
And, that is so true. And, I mean, you do need to make enough money to pay the bills, to pay your staff, to have it make sense. But that's not the big motivator. The big motivator here is sharing and natural wellness and helping people find that. You ask about advertising too. A big thing I am finding, I actually do a YouTube channel. I started it
Okay.
in January 2019. I go on every week, every Tuesday. Yeehaw, it's YouTube Tuesday. And I come from the farm, and a couple weeks ago I even had dirt on my nose. I really need to stop and look at myself before I go on there. But I've been doing it. I've only missed one Tuesday when I think it was Christmas Eve last year, and I thought I just don't feel like going on Christmas Eve. But that's the only Tuesday I've missed. I'm very consistent. I've had a lot of people find us from that, and they come out and they're just like, oh, I saw you on YouTube. I found that to be an amazing resource.
So how far do you feel like people come to the farm? What's the furthest visitor you've had?
They come from, I have some volunteers that come here for an hour and a half from Virginia Beach.
Oh, wow.
And people drive all the way from Williamsburg, which is over an hour. They come from Richmond. I've had, because, okay, here in Virginia, I know when I wanted to get my herbalist training, I had to drive 3 hours. For 4 years, I drove 3 hours each way to get my classes in. And because there's nothing over on this area. So we are actually, this is something new in our area. So, and, an hour and a half is better than 3 hours. So they're able to come out here and find the herbs and have a day of wellness. And, I'm so grateful, and I feel so blessed that people are making the effort. I make sure, like I said, we're welcoming. It's a day, you can come here real quick, shop and go, buy your eggs and stuff and go, or you can come and stay hours and we just leave you alone. You can visit all the farm areas. We always have refreshments, like I said. It's some people bring their lunches. I mean, even on Fridays or Saturdays, they know we have picnic tables scattered around. They can bring their families and come out and bring their lunches. They can picnic. They can enjoy the animals. They can walk the labyrinth or the peace path. Some people just love to go sit by the honeybee hives and just watch the bees go in and out. It relieves their stress. So we're just really happy about that.
So talk to us about your team, because you talked about you have some part-time employees. How do you find the people that work for you?
Yes, some of the young people that have been here have been with me for years, and I mostly find people through them, and they have been very steadfast. Some of them have come and worked for a while, and then they go to college or something, and they come back, and a lot of them have full-time jobs, but they work, 1 day a week here. And like I said, I'm hoping I can, at the right time, have a few of them come be my full-time people. But they're just amazing, and I cherish them, and I make sure I appreciate them. And I'm really hoping that you got to think legacy. I love my own 2 children. I have 2 grown children and 4 grandchildren, but they have no interest in this. They have their own lives. So I'm really hoping when CA and I decide we do want to stop doing this, that I can sell the business, a ready-made business, to some of these young people that have so invested in it, and they can make it their own. So I think there's a good chance of that. And you always got to be thinking about legacy, especially as you get into your 60s.
Yeah. So on the farm, do you have specific roles, or do people just have, like, I think you mentioned earlier, you just have a list and they can pick what they want to do?
Well, the list is actually new. We're just starting.
Oh, okay.
up until now, it's been just report to me, or sometimes I'll text them a list, and a bunch of them come in and do that. But just recently, I've got so much going on that I'm having to share more. Like I'm finally showing some of the young people, okay, here's how you make the tea blends. You gotta sanitize your hands. The people work with you, the guests, the visitors work with you to create the tea blends, because that adds power to it, I think. And I'm gonna showing them how to make the capsules. I make herbal capsules for people, people that don't like maybe necessarily drinking hot tea. Can make an herb blend, and I grind it into powder, and I can create capsules, herbal capsules for them. And I actually found a vet, and holistic vet, that has me making capsules for dogs. And who knew I'd be making money, making capsules for dogs. So I'm just so thrilled, I'm just so thrilled about how it's going.
For your promotion, you've talked about you using Facebook, you're using YouTube. How else do you promote the farm?
Well, new by going on to podcasts and webinars. I've been doing that for a while. I do belong to a couple of really good groups. I belong to Retail Alliance, which is a local business group that is amazing. And then Chambers, I advertise on all of them. I go around, I post flyers in the local bed and breakfasts, so that when we get tourists here to the farm, to the area, they actually see a flyer that, there's a medicinal urban egg farm. Yeah, we'll go out there. And, they're having a drum circle tonight, Yeah. And we do events here. We're really getting into, I belong to that's why I say, you really got to get out there. I belong to so many things. And right now, my big thing that's happening is homeschooling groups are finding us. Because they can come out and use one of our big outside tented areas where it has tables, picnic tables and stuff there. They can spread out, and they can safely, use our internet connection, and they can hold classes. They can get together and do that. And so that's one of our big things right now, and I'm encouraging other business groups to do that. Hey, you tired of Zooming? Come on out. You can use one of our outdoor areas to have a meeting.
Oh, yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, again, because the Zoom thing was pretty cool at the beginning, but I think a lot of businesses are really getting tired of it all of a sudden, or maybe would like a little break, from it.
Now, for let's say your drum circles, do you charge for those, or is that just free as well, just a donation?
We ask for a donation of $10.
Okay.
And they are 2 hours long, and sometimes we bring in guests. We just had a guest come in from Virginia Beach at our last one last Friday, Brian Egan from the Sound Healing Conservatory there with the Edgar Cayce Foundation.
Okay.
And he did a sound healing meditation with the sound bowls and all that, so it was amazing. But we charge $10 per person, anybody over 12. That includes the whole evening, and it includes refreshments. We always have refreshments, and after I pay all my expenses out of that, we always donate to the Humane Society. Part of that. And when we do a big festival here, big music festival and stuff, it's usually like $20, and $5 of every ticket goes to the Humane Society. So
gotcha.
So all of our things are based. You've got to be thinking about that, yeah, and maybe, I don't know, I probably need to be charging more in some areas. I've got to be looking at that, but it's so hard. And I don't know about your area where you're at, but Matthews County is not New York City. It's not Williamsburg. It's not Richmond. It's a very rural county. So it's Matthews, Gloucester, Saluda, West Point. We're all in that area. And people don't have, it's not a ton of rich people here. So I try to keep the prices in my store good. And everything like that. You don't want to be known as, oh no, you don't want to go shop there because it's a super expensive,
Yeah.
That's no good. So I try to keep everything reasonable. So it's always hard, isn't it, to figure out pricing. Pricing is hard.
Yeah. So then you have the people, just a regular donation fund. You've got like the music drum circle events. You've got the store with the eggs and all the herbs and stuff.
Yes.
Are those the three major income streams?
Yes, selling the potted herbs.
Oh, okay. So you've also got the horticulture side.
Oh yes. Oh yeah. I sell eggs, duck and chicken eggs, cut flowers. We're getting into the hemp. We have I'm an elderberry grower. I sell elderberry plants, and then we're getting into doing veggie starts. Spring and fall veggie, especially lettuces and things like that. So yeah, we do a lot of agricultural, so which is it can be pretty challenging to keep up with everything, but I don't know. It seems like it's really rolling. It's kind of like, I always think it's kind of like that old plate spinner thing where he's got like a line of plates on a little stick spinning, and you spin this one, and then you run down the line and keep them all spinning, and then you run down to the first one, and keep it all balanced. But like I said, I'm reaching my limit. I do need to start having some full-time people.
Yes.
So I'm looking at that. Even with having all the wonderful volunteers I've got, and my beautiful, part-time people that I am paying, I'm realizing I need some full-time people. So I am going to be starting that up, and I think and we're going more and more educational. We've actually had a few companies find us lately that are going to be using us for programs for their company. So we're going to be doing more and more, because we can do programs on how to grow veggies, how to grow herbs, how to take care of bees. I teach beekeeping classes all the time. How to use the herbs, how to, gosh, it just goes on and on and on. How to keep chickens, how to keep ducks. Yeah. I mean, so everybody's wanting to know these kind of classes, and that doesn't even count all the just herbalism classes, how to use the herbs, how to walk around and identify what you can eat and what's growing medicine right between your feet. I mean, we have all got to get smarter. We need to learn what's out there, because God gives us the earth, and the earth gives us everything we need. We just got to stop poisoning it and then going out and spending money on food and medicine that's not as good. That is our belief here, and that's what we're sharing. That is what we're sharing. And I'm not that worried about the money. The money will come. I just keep going forward, no fear. Keep going forward, using my brain, do the best I can, and the money will come.
So what would you say is the biggest mistake that beginning farmers make now that you've been farming for a couple of years?
I think it's doing what everybody else is doing. Doing what everybody else is doing, and just kind of running on autopilot. I think even farmers, everybody running their own business, no matter what it is, think outside the box. Look for ways to make yourself stand out. Go the extra mile. Keep up with modern technology. Use it. Don't just complain about it. Use it, and use it. It will help you. And for goodness sakes, take debit and credit cards. So many farmers I know, they're like, oh no, we only take cash. Well, then you're not going to have many sales. No. You've got to keep up with that, especially the young people. They don't have any money in their pockets. And if you want to have the young people who are the main ones spending money, then you need to take debit and credit cards, and you need to look into the other things. I'm checking right now on Venmo and Zelle, and they want to be able to do what they want to do, and so you've got to be able to give them what they want. I think that's the biggest thing I see, and another bad thing is locking yourselves into a business model too early. I think keep fluent. I mean, if I had locked myself in early, I never would have gotten into doing all this. It just keeps happening and keeps happening. And I have business signs on my truck, right? And to advertise my farm as I'm driving around, and I have changed them so many times, and I'm fixing to change them again because we just got a new logo. You got to keep fresh. I've had the same logo for forever, and I'm like, okay, it's time for a new one. Now it doesn't so much emphasize the C&J farm. It's the life close to nature, sharing the earth. So because we're getting more and more educational, so you've got to keep up, and you've got to keep fresh, you gotta keep being relevant, or so many, especially vintage people like myself, they're so bad of saying, oh no, I don't want to change, too many changes. Well, especially in business, whether you're a brick and mortar or a farm, you've got to change, or you're going to get run over. I mean, and so you've got to be open, or you won't have any business. So I just highly advise that.
So if you could pick one, what would be your favorite farming tool?
The Cobra Head Weeder from Johnny Seeds. I love that thing.
Okay. And how do you use it?
It breaks the earth's grip on the weeds. And so I'm blessed to be short with short legs. So everybody says I'm a perfect weeder because I can just walk around, bend down, and just chop and bring, chop and grab. The cobra head weeder. I get it from Johnny C's, but I'm sure you can order it from other places too. But it just you plunge that into a weed and it breaks the earth's grip on it, and you're able to rip it out really fast and clean.
Yeah, and they have a long-handled version as well as a short-handled version, correct?
Somebody told me about that. I've just got the short head, so I need to get the long-headed one. I do.
Yeah, no, they're great.
I do.
So, do you believe that now is the best time to start a farm?
I sure do. I sure do. A lot of people may think not, but I sure do, because the world needs us. No one would be growing for the world if we're all working in offices. And that seems to be where everybody wants to work. Heck, if I know why, but that seems to be. So I think it's a great time to start a farm. I think people need us.
And especially the type of farm you're doing, which is so educational. I think right now there's such a need for that.
Well, it's a place. It's not just a place to come by and buy a potted plant. It's a place to talk and learn and we talk a lot about your diet, your lifestyle, everything. We just share with what my husband and I do, to be able to keep ourselves healthy. And farms, especially a place like us where we're talking about wellness, you've got to be a product of the product. So my husband and I, we really strive for that. Have you ever gone for your doctor's appointment? You see your doctor standing out back behind the hospital smoking a cigarette, That doesn't give you much faith,
Yeah.
So my husband and I really, we work towards being a product of the product. And I advise most farmers to be that way. You want to have a healthy presentation.
So where can people find out more about you and your work?
Okay, thank you. We have a website, cajfarm.com. My husband's name is Charles Allen, and I'm Jean. So cajfarm.com. YouTube is CA and the little and symbol, J Farm. And then our email, you can email me. I'm at cajfarm@gmail.com. And you can call me, 804-815-2839. Text me, call me, we'll talk about if you have any questions about the herbs and how to live more naturally and more healthy. I especially love sharing with the kids. I want them to be healthy and to think healthy early. And I love sharing with the older people who are my age and women, because there's no reason when you get in your 50s and 60s that you should be hurting and feel bad for the last half of your life. You just got to give it a little thought and work. Do the work. I wanted to read, may I read just a short little sentence? It's a wellness mantra. Is that okay, Michael?
Go for it.
Okay. This is something we read at the drum circles, and just listen to it and let it sink in. May I be well in body, spirit, and mind. May I be at peace internally and externally. May I feel connected, supported, and loved. And may I be healthy, strong, and free. Say that to yourself a couple of times and let that sink in. Sing a song of wellness, and well you'll be.
Jean, thank you so much for your time today. This has been an absolutely fascinating conversation. And, it's a little bit unusual because usually we're focused more on the production side of agriculture. And not that you're not production, but you're doing so much education too, which is so exciting. So again, thank you for sharing.
I want you to know too, and I don't think I even said that, but we do everything organically here, which means we do everything the hard way. And I don't think I told you that, but yeah, we have a sign as you come on the farm. It says our farm practices all organic methods, and people they like that a lot, which they can buy veggie starts for their spring planting and their fall planting, or our herbs, and they know that's all been raised organically. And sometimes they get a free bug on their plant.
Yes. Yeah. All right, well, Jean, thanks so much.
Thank you for having me.
All right,
Y'all be well.
Hey, Thriving Farmers. Next week on the podcast, I will be interviewing Simon Huntley and Neil Staffer from Harvey. Now, you may have heard of Harvey before. They're a CSA management software company, but they've recently started something new where they've been doing what they call like a Harvey Pittsburgh. That's what they were going to be talking about next week. And so they're starting to put together regional co-op for more of a CSA aspect. So anyway, fascinating conversation. They had a massive success this year with when they did it in Pittsburgh, working with dozens of farmers in the area with over 650 co-opted shares. And we get on and we talk all about what it means to set one of these up. We talk packaging, we talk working with farmers, we talk how CSA works or doesn't work for different styles of farms, and how they are changing the CSA landscape. So join me next week for a conversation all about CSA and automation.
So there you have it, another episode in the books. So I'd love if you would hop on over to iTunes and leave us a rating and a review. Those mean everything to us. We love to hear what you're thinking. If you have a podcast guest that you can recommend, please pop on over to the Thriving Farmer Podcast website and leave us a review. That's thrivingfarmerpodcast.com.